You can stand there with me if you want, but you'll have to agree not to talk about the heat.
I'm a married woman.
Meaning what?
Meaning I'm not looking for company.
You should have said I'm a happily married woman.
That's my business.
What?
How happy I am.
And how happy is that?
You're not too smart, are you? I like that in a man.
What else do you like? Lazy? Ugly? Horny? I got them all.
You don't look lazy.
Hello. That was a clip from the Lawrence Kasdan directed Body Heat, his directorial debut, which we'll be talking about later today or tonight. This is Movies the Podcast. I'm Curtis.
This is Jordan.
This is Brenda.
This is Rob.
It's Dan.
Pause. Oh, this is Dan.
I have to tell everyone, Rob took me to see The Way, Way Back today, which
Good.
I'm sure it'll still be in theaters.
So do you still feel that it's Adventureland?
There were definitely elements of Adventureland, definitely. It's a really fantastic film. It's funny. It was a little sitcom in the beginning, but I think it needed to be to level out the dramatics that happened later. It needed a little bit of that. The first 10 minutes is a Allison Janney monologue from hell that I was dying.
She's incredible. I love what she's doing with her career right now, is that she seems like she's having a lot of fun, and she's picking roles where she can just really be like outlandish and
I wish I had a child
crazy.
right now in high school in drama class. I'm like, this will be your scene that you're going to do for
I wish I was in high school
my
back in
God.
drama class doing Allison Janney's.
The best line is, "Oh yeah, and my niece got raped in October. Guess food courts aren't even safe anymore." He's like, you don't know if you should be laughing.
That's the name of my blog. .blogspot.com.
/trash file.
No, I did. She was great, and Jordan had told me before we saw it that she does that part, but she does it so well, and so I'll give it to her. It's that Drop Dead Gorgeous. What else did she do it in?
Away We Go.
Away We Go.
It's
Yeah.
that character, but if you like that, let her rip.
And she kind of, like in Ice Storm, it's kind of like the little seed of that character where
It's
she's a
the
little
start.
like a little kooky and a little weird. And even in Juno too, she kind of had little touches of it.
Did she do that in The West Wing?
No, and I feel like she did have some fun stuff in West Wing, but I feel like maybe because of the West Wing, we've all pictured her a certain way, and she's not that way. Because actually, in every other thing she's ever done, she's been very different than her
Primary
West Wing
Colors.
character. Exactly, well, and that's how she got the role in West Wing, was because of her role in Primary Colors.
Love it.
Yeah.
But I do recommend anyone to see The Way, Way Back. I laughed, I cried,
I cried.
It was a fantastic.
I sat through an Amanda Peet movie. I got all the way through it.
Rob said, and this is so true, what did she think she was doing with that character? Like, what?
What does Amanda Peet ever do with anything?
I do like one movie of hers. But yeah, I think she had no handle on, and she's like the crux of the plot. It kind of relies on her, and the fact that she's
no one
two
should.
scenes.
No one should ever rely on Amanda Peet.
well, no, but what
she's the
happens
Sean
with
Young
her-
for a new generation.
what happens with her character?
She's cute.
Changes.
I'll give her that.
Not
She's
anymore.
pretty.
Not
No.
anymore.
Last night, Curtis and I watched It's a Disaster. We were trying to watch Chronos for today's podcast, but he apparently had the wrong login for Hulu Plus. So.
I'm sorry.
This is what happens when you steal cable.
I know.
It's unreliable.
We totally were. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a film that we slightly covered in our spring episode. It was a movie that we were looking forward to. The only major actor in it is David Cross and America Ferrera. It's
Julia Stiles.
Julia
Stiles. Oops.
Whoa, well,
Yeah.
her career's really gone interesting places.
I like how that
hasn't
played
it?
out. Julia Stiles. Oh, no.
Hey, she just got done doing Dexter.
She has come
3
down
years
with,
ago.
She's come down with
I thought she
Kirsten
died in
Dunst
that.
disease. Like,
No, Rob had the best thing.
She
Wrong with
peaked-
what disease?
Kirsten Dunst disease. She peaked at 9. She's going to make a cute movie every 10 years.
Kiki Dunst has still got it going on, so don't even start. Rob made the best thing. We watched Silver Linings Playbook and we saw Julia Stiles in it. He's like, the casting director is probably like, you're too old to play the ingenue, but you can play the sister.
She's Monique's mom.
Sean Connery's Monique's mother.
No, Sean Connery is Monique's boyfriend. He's 150, but he's still a stud.
Well, I recommend you guys try this movie out. I didn't
It
know.
just came up on stream.
Man, it skipped the theaters, didn't it?
It did. It skipped the theater altogether. He had gotten it on iTunes, I
I've
think,
been
originally.
kind of waiting for it to come out in the theater because I wanted to see it. I thought it looked really cute.
Spring really lasts a long time for you, doesn't it?
It's really dark.
Some of us do other things.
It's a dark comedy.
It looked cute.
It's not
last
cute.
night, I caught a screening of You're Next.
I'm excited about this.
It was really good. Parts of it were overall it was really clever, but just parts of the plot were predictable. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to give any spoilers or anything. I do recommend it, and I do like that actress, the Australian, the lead.
Uh-huh.
I think the only thing I've seen her. Well, I didn't even watch this
Step
movie.
Up 3?
Step Up 3D. I didn't
She's
even watch
amazing.
it. But that's the only thing that I've
You gotta
known her
love
to
him
be
for
in.
versatility in his films.
Everyone loves Curtis for versatility.
That's what they say.
For his repertoire.
No,
If that's
seriously.
what we're calling
I
it.
need to work on an audio clip for every time I roll my eyes because I had no interest in seeing that movie.
Oh, you're next?
Yeah.
I really want to see it.
I think I know why, because Joe Swanberg's in it.
Who's that?
Oh, okay. He's like he's the
Rob-
director of a bunch of mumblecore films.
Rob
Joe-
just doesn't
Joe
like horror
Swanberg.
movies.
I don't like horror movies, and we watched a trailer, Dana and I, and I
It's
was
like a horror thriller. I will say that. It's,
I can't.
Did your awful sister that you always talk bad about like it?
Oh yeah.
we have our first live audience member. It's my sister.
We're being haunted.
She won the privilege of being the only living person to have listened to every episode of the podcast.
I had my friend
And for being my ride.
my friend Gabriel and Claudia were like, "We like your podcast, but you should make a video podcast. It's so easy to record." I was like, "You don't want to record ourselves doing this."
Do you know what we're wearing right now?
Right? We're like picking our teeth as we're talking.
No, I'm
I'm looking
excited.
at porn on my laptop. No, I'm just-
I hope
That
it.
audio better be turned off.
Oh, I hope it has an
Tell
on-demand
Dan to stop
release.
waving at me.
I know.
I know how to podcast.
That's Meryl Streep.
Oh well,
playing down.
nobody's brought this up, but today we got some bad news. Karen Black passed away.
She was my nana.
She's your nanny.
Karen Black is
The most work she's been doing lately.
Oh, I was sad to hear of her.
Yeah, she's kind of like an offbeat actress. Like I know she came into prominence in the '70s. She was in 5 Easy Pieces and Easy Rider, but I saw her in this. I don't know how well known it is, but it's a '70s like trilogy called Trilogy of Horror. I thought it was so much fun, and I think that's kind of why Rob Zombie kind of picked her for that role in House of a Thousand Corpses. But I mean, I
Terrible
love
film.
her.
She's in Hitchcock's Family Plot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Hitchcock's final film.
Yeah.
I have to say, I love her. She's in Airport 75 with Charlton Heston.
Jordan based his whole drag act on it.
This was. That movie meant
love
a
this.
lot to me. It was the proto gene of my my fledgling flight attendant career, which never happened.
All I
Which
imagine
was-
is when before he goes on stage, you hear the sounds of a plane landing, and that's his cue. Oh, here he comes!
And now that I've seen, I'm so excited. It's almost like a glimpse of like his career, but in Spanish.
My career would have been in Spanish.
Oh, and it would have been an
It
Almodovar
would've
film.
been-
You're big in Mexico.
Do you know any Almodovar
Mexico's
films?
big in me.
And that's a great
We can
segue.
insert a clip right here.
Can't we? That's terrible. I did. I finally rewatched. Rob's been on a David Fincher trip, I guess.
That's a good trip to be on.
More like I realized I didn't own a lot of his movies, so I just keep buying them.
So I borrowed The Game because
Oh,
that's a good name.
I like to watch all the director's work, and I'd seen it just once before. And let me just tell you, if you've seen it once, when you see it the second time, it's terrible. And I feel bad because I love David Fincher, and I'm always talking good about
I
him.
saw it once. I never saw it again.
Don't watch it again.
Don't
Don't watch it again.
Because I remember really liking it.
It's fantastic the first
I think
time.
it holds up on a second viewing.
It's just once you know the twist, there's
It
no
ruins it.
tension.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe they kind of play with the idea of what's
Because
really
he does
happening and
tension
what-
really well. Like his movies are very like that's something that he's really good at.
I
in
think
his films.
I more respected it for its set design. I know that sounds so cheesy, but like its set design, its
Only Curtis
music,
point
The
that
art
out.
direction.
the art
But
direction.
those are always hallmarks of a Fincher film.
God.
We're leaving way back, and he sees who the costume designer is. Like, who was it?
It was Anne Roth. Anne Roth did the costumes for way back.
Really?
Anne Roth.
For some of us who don't know who she is.
Oh, sorry. She's worked. She always works with Meryl.
Yeah.
She works with she did like The Hours, The English Patient. I mean, she's won Oscars, and she did The Way Way Back, which is basically Bermuda shorts and short sleeve button up.
And
You
shirts.
know what?
mustaches.
Everyone needs a break.
Although
And
Steve
everyone has
Carell-
a mortgage.
Steve Carell looking pretty good in that movie.
I wanted to screw him.
Physically,
Is that bad?
no?
And the fact that he's a total asshole.
So you would have been Amanda Pete?
I would have
Spoiler
never say that
alert!
again. Oh, please.
I did have to spoil that.
Amanda Pete is in a movie. She fucks a married guy.
Should I make a note right now to
News
put a big
at 11.
spoiler alert?
Yeah, edit Rob out.
Spoiler alert. And speaking of deaths, Eileen Brennan passed away. Speaking of offbeat actresses that we've lost.
We
Eileen-
mentioned that.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Insert
yeah.
a clip here.
Oh, fuck. Did we?
Insert
Was
a
I
clip
there?
there.
I don't remember talking. Oh, yes, we did talk about her.
You're all bitches.
Dan, shut up.
In the,
You're over there like Helen Keller on meth. Like, what the fuck? I don't care. Marley, he's
you have
children of a lesser god over there. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind.
You're losing.
My medicine just kicked in.
I could tell. Anyways,
Well, Eileen Brennan's still
The
dead.
one day
She's
I
still fucking
retort, Jordan's
dead.
gonna walk out of here crying. I'm just gonna say.
Jordan
that right
does
now.
walk out of here crying. He walks in here crying.
I've got moisture dripping from somewhere at any given time.
He's a method podcaster.
This is how it gets. This is how it gets.
This is how Meryl Streep would podcast. I don't know. Am I good at it? I don't know.
So
Rounding it up. No, but and today is an interesting podcast
But
for
Curtis,
us because yeah,
Eileen Brennan is dead. I
Is
don't
she
know if
still
you've
dead?
heard. She's still dead.
And
but we're
Claire
gonna
Nye.
verify it.
for a non-alcoholic, you sound drunk.
I told you.
he's not O'Doul's.
Is this water?
We really, I always like to talk about the director, and I think the actor is very important. But I speak of David Fincher for The Game and how I like watching all of a director's films, and we thought it would be really interesting to talk about a directorial debuts, like the first one. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt has his directorial debut coming out next month. Ryan Gosling's working on his right now. There's a lot of people doing their first films.
Diablo Cody's is coming out.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And that trailer just came out for that one too, right? And we just thought it was so interesting to talk about where people started. Was their first film their best film? Was it their worst? And the clip from earlier is Body Heat, which is one of my favorite films. It's a film noir from Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who ended up doing The Big Chill. And it's fantastic performances by Kathleen Turner and William Hurt. If you have not seen it, I'll let you borrow the Blu-ray. Because if you're listening to this,
I think it's Kathleen Turner's.
I've
One
never
of her
seen that
better
movie.
it's her
performances.
debut, and it's her best performance.
I think it's one of her best.
Can you add
yeah.
it to that stack of movies I need to borrow from you?
I have it.
Oh, is it that one where it's almost like a family reunion or a high school reunion or something like that in a house?
That's
No,
the big.
that's
chill.
The Big Chill.
Okay.
That's the big chill.
But this one is a film noir, hot nudity. It's where he started, and yet he didn't. Besides The Big Chill, hasn't really made that much of an impact since that. And a lot of people, their directorial debuts put them on the map, and a lot of people's directorial debuts, you can't really remember it. And I always like talking about trajectory of career. But
Yeah,
really,
you do. That's one of the things
big-
that I enjoy going on these trips with you, these filmography trips. That if you're gonna like the Del Toro, right now we're trying to get you to where
they're trying to
you,
get me to
you
like
hate
Del
Del Toro, but you've never really seen all of his films.
No,
so
it's true.
I'd rather you reserve your hate for him until you've seen everything.
I know, and that's where we're going to start Chronos, because it's Rob's probably right. It's like with John Waters. I used to hate John Waters, so I
I
watched.
can't believe that.
I know.
Like you and I can't be friends.
So I watched them all, and watching somebody and
I don't like his movies.
I've said this 1.5 million times.
But you can't look at them as movies. They're performance art.
Yeah,
And that's that. After we saw that documentary, and we've talked more about him. I'm gonna take that approach next time I rewatch his catalog.
I'm never rewatching his catalog again. You can do that on your own.
As a person, as a speaker, I love him. But as a filmmaker, performance art, I'll
Rob's,
take that.
we're going to listen to his audiobook on a road trip.
On our way to New
so
Orleans, we're gonna
excited.
get his role models audiobook. And
It's
we're gonna listen to
so
it.
good.
John Waters.
But what about for you guys? Because I know what directorial debut did you see that you thought, this is a great director, this is someone I want to watch, Jordan?
For mine, one of my favorite directors then and now, Quentin Tarantino, his directorial debut, which I feel is his best, is Reservoir Dogs.
You know what this is? It's the world's smallest violin playing just for the waitresses.
You don't have any idea what you're talking about. These people bust their ass. This is a hard job.
So is working at McDonald's, but you don't feel the need to tip them, do you? Well, why not? They're serving you food. But no, society says, don't tip these guys over here, but tip these guys over here. That's bullshit.
Waitressing is the #1 occupation for female non-college graduates in this country. It's the one job basically any woman can get and make a living on. The reason is because of their tips.
Fuck all that.
So Reservoir Dogs, I feel it's a successful directorial debut because it establishes his style, his vision, his point of view, and it's something that he's kept throughout his entire career, because you look at things like Django Unchained and you look at the Kill Bill movie, you look at all of these things that he's done and he's gone in different directions and he's built on it, but you see Reservoir Dogs, and a lot of people, I feel, see Reservoir Dogs after seeing Pulp Fiction, after seeing some other things, and see this is classic boiled down Tarantino, and it's a great movie. I think it holds up. It's some great performances. It's even though I know the twist, it still surprises me. I mean, it feels fresh every time I watch it, and it's one of those. It's one of my favorite movies, and is the beginning of a trajectory of directorial efforts that I feel is really impressive. And one of the things I respect about him is that he has kept that point of view and that initial, these are the kind of movies I want to make, and I'm not going to, he's not a director that has really bent to studios or bent to public opinion. All those movies have done really well, and like any director, he makes choices because of he's got to sell tickets and he's got to put butts in seats. But I feel that as a directorial debut was a great preview to the career to come, for sure.
I will say, and I've said this about Quentin Tarantino before, not to say that Reservoir Dogs is not a great film, because it's a great film. He's only gotten better until Django. But every single film has been smarter, better, more well shot, more pieced together, just more confident.
Right.
So you're right. When I go back and look at Reservoir Dogs now, I'm like, it's not as good as the stuff he's done, because he's gotten stronger, which is what you hope with a director.
Right. Yeah, and that's it put him on the map, but it allowed him to grow. And you have films of his. To me, his best one is Inglourious Basterds. Inglourious Basterds to me is that film is such an epic, and very rarely will you find a director that you can say that's your epic, that's your movie that just it's big and just beautiful.
Swan song or whatever.
But
in that film, he's doing the same things he did in Reservoir Dogs.
Very true.
He does ensembles well. He does monologues well. He chooses music well.
But Inglourious
he's doing it better. I mean,
Definitely.
it's the process of learning how to make a film and understanding how to use that camera to your advantage. And Reservoir Dogs is a fantastic film, but I mean, that movie was made on such a budget, on such a small budget, and he did it on such. It's like when Mariachi, Robert Rodriguez film, it was such a small film that once he learned how to use better that equipment, how to use better his time,
and once they had the budget.
I think the budget is beside the point. I think they...
No, but I mean, you see what they can do with such a small budget. So once they become established and they get, not necessarily the huge budget,
you're
a huge
right.
blockbuster,
you
see what they can do.
They know
with that
better
as well.
how to use that money. And then you see other filmmakers who do such a great first film, and then you give them a lot of money, and they're just completely squander it. They just...
Well, and that's what I love about Quentin Tarantino is after Pulp Fiction, what are you going to do? You're going to do something bigger and louder and weirder, and he didn't. He did Jackie Brown, which is quieter and smarter.
I saw for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Like top 3 favorite Tarantino.
Yeah, Rob loved it.
Isn't it not amazing?
Robert Forster's character? If I would love to be that character. I just loved his character so much.
It's such an incredible movie.
It's a great rewatch. I can rewatch it.
It's a great movie.
What about you, Brenda? What's your favorite directorial
For me,
debut?
like I went through that list you sent us, and although sometimes you can take the director's debut and see what kind of career they're going to have, or with somebody like Quentin Tarantino, he just keeps getting better. One of my favorite ones is kind of like a standalone. Like I think he's only made 1 or 2 other films, and I've seen one of them, which was Brown Bunny. But Vincent Gallo's first one.
I'm leaving.
Vincent Gallo's first one, Buffalo '66. I would just take that as a standalone film.
No, I don't want tripe. You want to get me tripe? Get me tripe.
No. Hey, listen, let him fill up on the bread. Enough tripe.
Yeah, Ma.
Honey, that's your son. Let him have some more
eat bread, because that's what he wants me to eat. Bread all the time, right? God forbid I should have a piece of meat, right?
Guy's kind of a douche.
Kinda. Have you been to his website? Have you read those profiles?
No, I never have.
Yeah, and apparently
He'll sell you his cum on his website.
Yeah, and in interviews, he can be kind of douchey.
Meryl Streep does that on her website though too. Just to let you know,
he sells you his
things like that, and he's made like
things like that.
He's made racist comments, but a lot of people.
Curtis, there's no mobile app. Get out of the app store.
So the whole joke on 2 Days in New York, where he buys Julie Delpy's soul, that's probably something he would like do.
Probably.
Okay. Anyways, go on. Buffalo 66.
And he's made like racist comments in interviews and stuff like that, and
Jordan does that every podcast.
I don't know if you heard about the whole beef with him and Roger Ebert after like Roger Ebert slammed the Brown Bunny. But just as a standalone film, I really liked Buffalo 66, just the way it was.
That I agree.
Yeah.
It is, as a standalone film, a fantastic film. But, that director just took this. He's like, you know what? I have some clout, small clout, but I have some clout, and he just pooped all over everything from there on.
Yeah, I mean, there's different reasons.
You could probably buy that on his website, too.
His poop. There's different reasons, I think, to like directorial debuts, and this one's, like I said, as a standalone, I like it. And the fact that it was his, debut film, and it was made on such a low budget, and he wore so many hats, like he puts that in the trailer: directed, produced, written, starring Vincent Gallo. But that'd be one of my favorites.
The size of his ego. See, but that's cool that there are those films that. Sorry, I'm getting confused with Helen Keller. There are those films where really it's just you're like, I like that one film, and you watch something else by them, and you're like, oh.
Well, somebody like I've only seen 2 of his films, and I had seen Sid and Nancy first, but Alex Cox, his first film was Repo Man, and I love that one as well. It kind of went to the whole '80s, punk aesthetic with both of those films. But I mean, I haven't heard of anything else that he's made or seen anything else that he's made. But just with those 2 films, I think he established something. I'm not sure what ended up happening to him though.
That's kind of awesome.
Didn't they, for Brown Bunny, he paid and did a billboard in Los Angeles of Chloe Sevigny blowing him?
Yeah, they had to.
Immediately went back down.
But I love that they put it up. But that what Roger Ebert had said to him was basically saying his film was boring, and he said something terrible to him. And Roger Ebert would say the video of his colonoscopy would be more interesting than the Brown Bunny.
Yeah, what's it called? And he Vincent Gallo just threw back all these, like, he's a fat pig, this and that. And Roger Ebert was like, yeah, but at least I didn't make the Brown Bunny.
I love him. I loved him.
See, Curtis, why did you have to kill him?
I know. And that new Chicago Sun-Times reviewer is pissing me off. I'm not reading it. Did you get that? Oh, I'm...
Curtis hates this
strong
so
emotions.
Much.
Strong emotions.
But he wants to create an event to encourage us all to go watch it.
I am, by the way. This will be out before the movie comes out. We're doing a Facebook event. We're going to go see this shittiest movie. And
what's the name of the
Passion.
Because we haven't mentioned it.
Yeah, it's the Brian De Palma remake of Love Crime with Noomi Rapace and Rachel McAdams and this ugly guy that Rob knew from another show, but
that's Noomi Rapace.
He was in Sherlock Holmes too.
He's terrible looking.
Stop. We should make shirts that say "Stop trying to make Noomi Rapace happen."
Prometheus.
We're gonna wear those shirts for that night.
Oh, I'm doing it. I want everyone to see it. And the funny thing is, like, when I read that 4-star review from Chicago Sun-Times, I'm like, what if it's good? Like, what if I go and everyone's like, oh my god,
you're gonna be crying.
I'll buy everyone a drink who thinks it's good. Oh, we loved it. Yeah.
I want to fake it just to get a drink. Yeah. I've done that before.
Like, this is amazing.
It's terrible. I'm putting it out there. Rob, what about you? What's your favorite directorial debut?
Well, I have 2 that, but I will focus in on one. But I only wanted to, I say 2 because these are filmmakers now that I'm excited what they do next. That they've established themselves enough, even in their small body of work, that I want to see their next film. But my biggest one, I'm gonna say Stephen Daldry because I really love Billy Elliot, but Spike Jonze. I love Spike Jonze, and his first film was Being John Malkovich.
Mr. Malkovich, I think I can explain.
Yeah, explain.
My name is Craig Schwartz, and we operate a little business here that simulates for our clientele, well, the experience of being you, actually.
Simulate?
Yeah, after fashion.
What exactly does that mean?
That's hard to describe.
I want to do it then.
I'm sure that would pale in comparison to the actual experience.
I want to do it!
I mean, Spike Jonze, I was just looking at his body of work, and they just released his trailer for his new film called Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, and the voice of Scarlett Johansson. And it's a film about this. There's this technology that is created to where it's personalized for him. It's this woman who follows him around through his home, his cell phone, and he falls in love with her. So it's an interesting concept, especially for our this day and age when we're just obsessed with our devices. But if you look at his body's work, you look at Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, and even though I wasn't a fan of Where the Wild Things Are, it's an ambitious film. It's not a film that you can say that...
It's a beautiful film.
It is a beautiful film.
Yeah.
I just... My friend Tomas loves that story. It's his favorite film.
He has a tattoo.
I didn't connect with it. I didn't care too much for it, but I thought visually it's a beautiful film. So I'm excited for every time he gets to make a new film and put it out. And I also love that he is active in the Jackass crew and always in their movies. I think that's like, I'm not doing anything this year. You guys film anything?
He's one of the producers too.
Yeah.
He's Grandpa, right?
No, that's Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
I really wish I liked Spike Jonze more. I do. I think he's good. His movies are original. They're creative.
Didn't he do Three Kings?
He was
he
in
acted
3.
in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
David O. Russell was the director there. I do want to see Her. I think that looks
What about
fantastic.
Spike Jonze? Are you just not...
I don't connect. You know how you were talking about Where the Wild Things Are? I connect with Where the Wild Things Are. The rest of them I don't connect with. I didn't think Being John Malkovich was that funny. It's incredibly creative. But it's not a comedy to me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Catherine Keener has some good one-liners. Adaptation doesn't really... It's a little too weird for me, although I think the performances are good. What's the other one he did? Bam!
That's it. He did Where the Wild Things Are, Adaptation.
Who directed Human Nature?
That was Michelle Gondry.
Oh, okay.
But I also listed Stephen Daldry because Billy Elliot, I adore that film. That's a beautiful film, and he's done The Hours. He did the
Reader.
The Reader, which I love that film. So he has... It's a small body of work, but a body of work that I still want to go see. No matter what he makes, I'll go see it.
Was Human Nature Michelle Gondry's debut?
No, I don't know.
I think so, but Michelle Gondry only has one good movie, and that's it. It's
The
Eternal
Science
Sunshine
of
the
Sleep?
Spotless Mind.
Oh, no, he made one with Gail Garcia Bernal called The Science of Sleep.
Didn't like
Didn't
it.
like it.
Oh, he's so cute in
I like him as a
it.
director in general.
He's ambitious,
I
but-
liked Human Nature. I loved Eternal Sunshine. I liked Science of Sleep. But yeah, he is ambitious and he has his own
Green
voice.
Hornet.
Hey, Christoph Waltz is in that. I did want to point out somebody who I think has gotten really much better since their debut film. If I would have just judged them on their debut film, I wouldn't be that excited. Is Ben Affleck. Gone Baby Gone's okay.
Ooh, I'm going to...
You're gonna do that?
Piggyback.
Okay.
No. I'm going to piggyback on that, what you just said.
Oh, and then he did The Town, and I'm like, this is fantastic.
The Town is amazing.
Just even from casting, like who cast Rebecca Hall as the love interest? It was the best idea. And Blake Lively, what? She's good in that.
She comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
In that.
And then all of a sudden, Argo. Which
I would imagine him in the theater or watching The Town. What, Blake Lively? What are you doing?
Hey guys,
He said in
Serena.
I heard in an interview when he was
She did her accent.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was like, "What part of Boston are you from?" And she's like, "I'm not from Boston."
Yeah, she just had the accent on, and it really made me respect her for doing that. And he's rumors, talking to Lindsay Lohan for his next movie, which we'll talk about the Canyons later. But anyways, so that
he's gotten... Every film has gotten better. And
Just
they're not
stronger
bad
and stronger.
films. They're all good films in their
I
own
trust
right.
him with Lindsay Lohan.
I do too.
I trust that he would do something good with her.
Let me tell
and
you,
get a performance.
We'll
from her.
interject here, and you honestly watch The Canyons. I will totally promote this movie on iTunes, that new Lindsay Lohan movie. She is fantastic. Like, it's weird how good she is. And at first we were making jokes like, oh, she's drunk. They just filmed her. No. And once you realize it's not like a stunt anymore. And
Is it a very Courtney Love kind of
like that?
reality?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing.
No, I think what he was trying to say is that Courtney Love by...
People versus Larry Flynn.
That people dismissed her, that it was...
She's just playing herself. She's just...
Jordan, you should watch it. It was so strange
I'm
to
gonna
me.
check it out.
Yeah. anyways, long story short, who was the other director that you were thinking of, Rob, that got
the
better?
opposite end for me is Wes Anderson.
Bottle Rocket.
Royal Tenenbaums is his...
Royal Tenenbaums is his best, and it will sit there as his best film. He keeps remaking the same style and same film. I could care less. I wasn't a fan of Moonrise Kingdom.
I hate when you say that.
What?
Because it hurts my feelings. I think that's the sweetest...
Do you know why? Do you know why we think that? Because we're white. It's quite possibly the whitest movie ever made.
Oh,
it's a sweet film. I give it that.
And Tilda Swinton plays social services. She's so good in it. There's so much.
I'd like to see her directorial
debut. I
debut.
like his style, but I think he's an example of a director who takes a style and kind of is too in love with his style. Like Tarantino has a style that works, but it's flexible and it's pliable and he moves it around, but I think Wes Anderson just has such tunnel vision about the shot. Like the shots in Moonrise Kingdom are the same shots from the underwater
Life
Aquatic.
Yeah.
It's the same camera. It's like this. It's so.
I'm glad you made this point, though.
Self-referential.
Because it's so true. Quentin Tarantino's characters, they all live in the same world. Mm-hmm. Characters from Pulp Fiction, literally, I think they're related.
They're connected,
to Kill Bill.
Kill Bill, and there's a line between, and even Inglourious Bastards, Eli Roth's character is related to John Travolta's character from Pulp Fiction.
And somebody's kid is Shaft in one of his movies.
That's Django.
Yes.
Is Shaft's,
so I mean, it's definitely got this universe, and I wonder what the difference is between Tarantino, who has this universe, and Anderson, who has his universe. You're probably right, though. The shots are so specific. It's pretty much like get on stage and stand in these spots.
And he does it well. What he does well. I'd like to see him challenge himself more with something else. And I lump in Spike Jonze, and hopefully you guys agree in the same category as Tarantino, that yes, his films have similarities of the way they're shot, but they're films that I feel have enough reality behind them that you can buy them. You can buy the absurdity of what ends up happening in an adaptation and being John Malkovich. It still plays. Whereas in Wes Anderson films, I think the only one that had the most emotional connection for me was Royal Tenenbaums. Though there was a lot of... I sympathized and cared for characters in Rushmore, but Royal Tenenbaums to me, almost every arc in that film, I think worked.
I did want to point out, a lot of these first-time directors, correct me if I'm wrong, there was...
You're wrong?
No. They had small, intimate, low-budget starting films, correct? Have we all kind of mentioned Reservoir Dogs was low-budget?
Buffalo 66.
Totally. Okay, so one that I thought was cool when I was looking through the list of directorial debuts, this big, ginormously budgeted film, Titus, with Julie Taymor directing. And whether you like the movie or don't like the movie, it's fantastic.
But she had
ambitious. It's a very ambitious.
She only had stage work.
She had a career established as a stage director.
But man, to go from... Yes, and that movie, if you ever rewatch it... it's huge. The cast is huge. The costumes are down to the detail.
It's very
I want to see that
theatrical. It's a very theatrical approach. You can tell she's got a background in theater.
All her movies you can. I just think that's so ambitious. And even
it didn't all work. The whole movie didn't work, but most of it it was when that came out, it's one of those films where I want to follow this voice, but unfortunately that voice has taken this weird turn with Across the Universe and
The Tempest.
And see, because Frida still works for me. I still love Frida.
I love Frida.
I forgot she did that.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Salma Hayek that directed that.
Salma Hayek would probably tell you she directed it.
She said bumpers. Anyways, but I think it's true. And it's one thing I love about Criterion is they're always putting out like these kind of like the directorial debuts of a lot of directors. They put out Mala Noche, which is Gus Van Sant's first film, which is fantastic.
Alfonso Cuarón's first film is on Criterion.
What is his first film?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's not... I just recently watched THX 1138, which is George Lucas's debut film.
Yeah.
That is fantastic and strange and...
There's a trajectory all over the freaking place.
Yes. I know you guys are a huge fan of the show Girls. Did you ever see Lena Dunham's directorial debut?
Tiny Furniture?
Yes. And what's crazy about that? So we are hooked on Alec Baldwin's podcast.
It's it's called Solo con tu pareja. That's
I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's okay.
In English?
Only with your significant other.
But they released it in the cover.
It's obviously not a gay movie.
The Criterion film is called Solo con tu pareja. It has the original language title on it.
That's awesome.
But you were saying, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we've been listening to Alec Baldwin's podcast. Here's the thing. First of all, it's
what we aspire to be like.
It's fantastic.
I heard it for the first time he was interviewing Lorne Michaels.
That one's... I haven't heard that one.
It was really good.
He's really good at what he does.
I didn't know much about Lorne Michaels, and I have a lot of respect. He's the smartest person in television, I think. I mean, and that was the most fascinating interview.
We were speaking of Tiny Furniture, and Lena Dunham, he interviewed Lena Dunham, and one of the things she said about Tiny Furniture when they were talking about, why did you want to make it? What made you want to be a director? And the things she said were not like, it was interesting. The way her mother looked at that age, she wanted to catch that on film. The way their house looked, she wanted to catch that on film.
Oh yeah, she talked about. She talked about how, she was trying to figure out if she wanted to go into stage or film, and she realized stage, you go through all this process to put together this play. You put it on paper, and they only put it together. They only perform it 2 or 3 times. And for her film, it captures a moment in your time, in your life, that you can reference back and say, that's what it was when I was working on that. And I really like that approach. It's like why she decided to make that film versus writing a bunch of stage play.
Mm-hmm. Did you like Tiny Furniture? Have
you seen it?
I've seen it.
It's a prequel to Girls.
Yeah, it kind of is. I like it.
I didn't like it.
How could you not like it?
I didn't like it either.
I love Girls so much, and I really don't know if I should admit how much I love it. And my friends and I went to create...
You're very Shoshana, we know that.
I am so Shoshana. No, I'm not. I am Marnie.
It was hard for me to relate to the movie.
I pretend like my life is together, but
it.
my life is in garbage bags in somebody's kitchen.
Nobody thinks your life's together. Hannah. Anyway.
I am Hannah. Oh my god.
Anytime somebody's
horrible naked too.
Anytime someone's being needy, just go, oh, Hannah.
Well, a friend of mine wants to do the male version of Girls.
They're doing the
but
gay.
But they have like a gay one set in San Francisco. Yeah. But
not to digress off that, but just talk about Lena Dunham for a second, because she is a director in Directorial Debut. I love what she talked about when writing the character of Hannah. She said Hannah has a lot of anxiety. It's not about her body.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to dress. She dresses terrible. She wears short-alls. Like she's
completely unashamed of her body.
But it's because she doesn't
even.
She has no concept.
No, he said that she's always a step behind. Her character's always a step behind everybody else, and she never seems to catch up.
Yeah, and so she's like, she'd buy something because it's like, oh, that has acorns on it. I love acorns. Let's buy that dress. Like, that's how she thinks of things. Anyways, it's interesting. We could talk about writers forever.
Yeah, that podcast, I love it. It's my motivation. He has tons of episodes, and the only way I'll listen to them is if I'm jogging. So I have to go jogging to listen to a new episode.
Oh, I don't love anything enough that I would only do it jogging.
Female directors. What did you guys think about Virgin Suicides by Sofia Coppola's first film?
I was going to talk about this.
It's her best.
You think it's her best?
And it's a shitty movie, it's
a fantastic movie.
I think it's a great movie.
I think it's a testament to what was to come from her. I hate Sofia
When is
Coppola.
Jenny back? I'm just curious.
Jenny
is Brenda's replacement. I have no replacement.
Nobody replaces me.
I'm the security guard who walks in to watch TV is your replacement.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that during our staff meeting.
I adore the Virgin Suicides. I really like Lost in Translation. I'm going to watch it again because I think Lost in Translation might be that movie that feels really about you in that time of your life, and I was in that time of my life when I watched it, but now I'm not, so I'm wondering if it's still a good film.
Oh yeah, I loved Lost in Translation. The only one I haven't seen, and everybody seems to say that it's her worst, is Somewhere.
It's terrible. I didn't see The Bling Ring. Rob
I liked the Bling Ring. I saw it.
But I think if you don't like her aesthetic, you're not gonna like her movies.
Oh, I love her aesthetic.
Yes, and if you don't like Quentin Tarantino's thing, you're not gonna like his movies.
And I understand that her movie. I can see what people see in her. I just don't connect with her.
Her movies are
aesthetic.
like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. Pretty, airy, blonde. There's not a lot going on.
How often do you hang out down there?
We're really good friends.
My goodness.
Like, I really... Oh, there's another directorial debut. Thanks for sharing.
Speaking of vagina.
Well, speaking of Gwyneth, it's vagina.
I was just thinking it smells like Chris Martin. That's all I was thinking about.
Like, it was all yellow. I did want to kind of list
Every
off...
teardrop is a waterfall.
I love Gwyneth. I did want to kind of list off some directorial debuts. Not that I love them or don't like them or whatever, but just it was kind of shocking when I was going through this list of people's first films. So I'll pop off a couple. Ooh. And you should check them out if you don't know, but it's amazing that these are a director's first film. Mike Nichols, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. George Romero.
That was his first?
George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. Wes Craven, Last House on the Left. Toby Hooper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, wow. The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi. Chris Columbus's first movie, Adventures in Babysitting. Oh. I know. When I saw that, I was like,
are done.
I love it. Don't fuck with the babysitter. Like, my parents were like, what did she just say? I love it. James L. Brooks, Terms of Endearment. The Coen Brothers, Blood Simple, which I think, Rob, you've never seen, right?
I saw during its theatrical re-release, but it's been 12 years.
I have it on Blu-ray. It's fantastic.
I think it's awesome. It's on my list.
Oh, Jodie Foster, Little Man Tate.
That's a good movie.
Alexander Payne, Citizen Ruth.
Oh, that was an odd movie, but it was good.
It's on streaming. If you're ever get a little inkling, you should watch it. Neil LaBute, In the Company of Men, who continues to do the exact same movie to this day. Sam Mendes, American Beauty.
Oh wow.
Kimberly Pierce, Boys Don't Cry. Mm-hmm. Patty Jenkins, Monster. J.J. Abrams, Mission Impossible 3.
Interesting.
I thought so too.
When you look at a list like that, you're like, oh, I can't believe that's their first film.
Rob Marshall, Chicago.
Oh, wow.
That's a big.
That was an ambitious one for number one.
And then the person who actually has only directed one film, Zach Braff, Garden State,
which I liked.
It's a
cute movie.
It was a great film.
It's cute. I just thought it was a little overrated.
I just heard today that the guy who was in that play, sorry, distracted. He's doing another one.
Is he?
Yeah, he's lining up people now. He's got the head of what was that Matt and Trey Parker play?
Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon. Yeah, he's got the lead from that, and he's going to be in that movie.
Yeah, he did. He's going to be on Broadway in Woody Allen's Bullets Over Broadway. So Zach Braff, I'm really excited. And
like Zach Braff.
The last one that came out a couple years ago, but I think it's a great film if you have not seen it, is Moon by Duncan Jones. I think it's David Bowie's son.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Moon
I
is
saw his
so
second
good.
film. What's it called?
Source Code.
Source Code. It was okay. Moon is fantastic.
And if you like Sam Rockwell, and if you see The Way Back, and you have rediscovered Sam Rockwell, Moon is a really good. It's a great performance by him.
Oh, now that Elysium is coming out, District 9 was Neil Blomkamp's first film, which I think was
should have been his
which
last.
Is he's remaking into Elysium.
Either way, District 9 was a really ambitious film to be a first film. I thought it was excellent.
And an Oscar nomination. Mm-hmm. So that's some of our favorite directorial debuts. As you know, I love some directors, so I really encourage you to choose a director. Anyone that we've talked about, watch 3 of their films. Watch their first one and see where they go from there. I think you'll be very surprised what you find.
That's some really good homework there.
I think so, too. Mm-hmm. Anyways, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, My House, Jordan's Apartment.
Grinder.
That's basically...
Same thing.
Thank you, guys. This is Movies the Podcast, and I'm Curtis.
Calls out Grinder. Thank you. This is Rob.
This is Brenda.
This is Jordan.
This is the security guard.